I'm Jambo on Isiolo. Our topic is still Isiolo Development Potentials, Phase 2. My name is Ibrahim Halaki of Ibago Limited Consultancy Services. As indicated in Phase 1 of this topic, our topic for Phase 2 will be explanation of Vision 2030 and Lappset projects, its development magnitude, effect on Isiolo economy, and job creation potentials. It is important that we first fully understand what Vision 2030 is all about and how it connects to Isiolo. Vision 2030. The Kenya's Vision 2030 is Kenya's national long-term development blueprint that aims to transform Kenya into a newly industrialized middle-income country, providing a high quality of life to all its citizens by 2030 in a clean and secure environment. Pillars of Vision 2030. The vision comprises of three key pillars: economic, social, and political. The economic pillar aims to achieve an average economic growth rate of 10% per annum and sustaining the same until 2030. The social pillar seeks to engender just, cohesive, and equitable social development in a clean and secure environment, while the political pillar aims to realize an issue-based, people-centered, result-oriented, and accountable democratic system. Kenya's Vision 2030 economic pillar. The economic pillar of Kenya Vision 2030 seeks to improve the prosperity of all regions of the country and all Kenyans by achieving a 10% gross domestic product growth rate by 2012 within the medium-term plan 2008 to 2012. 6 priority sectors that make up the larger part of Kenya's GDP, 57%, and provide the nearly half of the country's total formal employment were targeted: tourism, agriculture, wholesale and retail trade manufacturing, IT-enabled services, previously known as business process offshoring, and financial services. The social pillar. The objective of Kenya's Vision 2030 social pillar is investing in the people of Kenya in order to improve the quality of life for all Kenyans by targeting a cross-section of human and social welfare projects and programs, specifically education and training. 2. Health. 3. Environment. 4. Housing and urbanization. 5. Gender, children and social development. 6. Youth and sports. Kenya's Vision 2030 political pillar. The Kenyan Vision 2030 political pillar's objective is moving to the future as one nation and envisions a democratic system that is issue-based, people-centered, result-oriented, and is accountable to the public. The pillar is anchored on transformation of Kenya's political governance across 5 strategic areas. 1. The rule of law, the Kenya Constitution. Electoral and political process. Democracy and public service delivery. Security. Peace building and conflict management. Transparency and accountability as number 5. Vision 2030 has its sectors as flagship projects as follows. The following flagship projects are planned for the whole country, and the beneficiaries of the same will be all the 47 counties. They include Kenya's Vision 2030 public sector reforms flagship projects, Vision 2030 youth and sports flagship projects, Vision 2030 Labor and Employment Flagship Projects. Vision 2030 Gender, Children and Social Development Flagship Projects. Vision 2030 Housing's Flagship Projects. Vision 2030 Environment Flagship Projects. Vision 2030 Health, Medical Services and Public Services and Sanitation Flagship Projects. Vision 2030 Education and Training Flagship Projects. Vision 2030 Financial Services Flagship Project. Vision 2030 Business Process Offshoring and Information Technology Enabled Services Flagship Project. Vision 2030 Manufacturing Flagship Projects. Vision 2030 Wholesale and Retail Trade Flagship Projects. Vision 2030 Agriculture Flagship Projects. We will continue further with Phase 3, and Phase 3 will be touching on Isiolo. In Phase 3, in line with our topic of Isiolo County potential, I have picked the two main flagship projects that are unique to Isiolo County, and we would want to elaborate on their magnitude and economic potentials. These flagship projects are Vision 2030 Tourism Flagship Projects. Vision 2030 Tourism Flagship Project has 5 sectors. That's development of resort cities, underutilized parks initiative, development of niche tourism products, meeting, incentive, conference and exhibitions, and 5 premium parks initiative. In Phase 1, we discussed the importance of tourism revamp, how to effect and improve on the same. This covers the subsector 2 to 5, with the exception of subsector 1, development of resource cities, which I have carried forward to Lappset projects as it also appears in the same. Lappset corridor projects. Lappset projects brings with it massive development projects to the country, and it has touched our county extensively. Much as part of the infrastructural development roads have been done, there are a lot of economic enhancing sub-projects still to come. Projects that are expected to generate millions of jobs, lift up the status and financial development of Isiolo County. The development magnitude of this single project cannot be compared to any other project in the country or even the county. Some of these sub-projects are the Isiolo Tourism City Resort, 1. 2. The Export Processing Zone, EPZ. 3. Oil Depot. 4. Oil Refinery. 5. Abattoir. 6. Container Terminal, or otherwise named Dry Port. 7. International Airport. 8. Railway Station. 9. Manufacturing Industries. 10. Farms for fruits, vegetables and flowers, and many more. Isiolo Tourism City Resort. Isiolo Tourism City Resort will be the first ever tourism resort city in Kenya and the third of its kind in the continent of Africa, behind the Sun City of South Africa and the Agadir Resort City of Morocco. During the planning phase, the benchmarking of this city was done in Sun City of South Africa and Lagos of United States of America. There has been and still is a lot of misconception as to what tourism resort city entails. Many people think a resort city is a grouping of a few hotels put together in an area where people can go for accommodation and entertainment only. Quite an underestimation. Tourism resort city in its own right is a fully fledged city with a complete city infrastructure. A city that specializes in tourism trade with hotels, museums, casinos, golf, polo, skiing, horse riding, supermarket, cultural centers, game drives, and many more. 6,500 acres of land has been set apart for the resort city by the first county government of Isiolo many years ago. A resort city is expected to host investors from major international chains of hotels with very high quality who have a worldwide marketing and booking systems like Wyndham Hotels and Resorts, Marriott's International, Choice Hotels International, Hilton Hotels, IHG Hotels and Resort, Best Western Hotels and Resort, Radisson Hotel Group, G6 Hospitality, Ambridge Hospitality, Hyatt Hotel Corporation, Sheraton Hotels, Intercontinental Hotels, Holiday Inn Group, Four Seasons Hotel Group, and others of similar quality. Sorry. The subsector alone will generate hundreds of thousands of jobs, both in the city and the hotels, not to mention the business and revenue factors. The subsector automatically lifts the status of Isiolo from that of a municipality to a city status. Once the resort city is in place, Isiolo will be the largest tourism hub in East Africa. 2, we are going to the export processing zone. Isiolo will be an export processing zone where we can fabricate, stitch, or manufacture things and export internationally, i.e. clothes, leather materials, beads, bags, mats, toys, and many more. Oil depot. Isiolo will have one of the largest oil depots, the size of Kipevu oil terminal, where oil through pipelines from southern Sudan and Turkana will be stored before further flowing down to Lamu for export. A huge storage facility that will of course create more jobs for the locals. Oil refinery. Part of the oil stored in the depot will be refined at the refinery and re-exported back to southern Sudan, to Ethiopia, and also for local consumption. Another job creator for locals. Container terminal. Containers destined for southern Sudan, Ethiopia, and part of Kenya from Lamu port will be stored at these terminals before clearance. This dry port will be one of the largest in Kenya, yet another job creator for locals. International airport. A large international airport will be built in Isiolo mainly for international tourist chartered jumbo planes and private jets to facilitate tourist flow to the resort city. The airport will have a complete airport infrastructure including control tower. Another major job creator for locals. Abattoir. Abattoir is already under construction and needs to be upgraded to international factory requirements level. Livestock will be slaughtered here and meat portioned and vacuum packed for both export and local consumption. Yet another job creation for locals. HGR railway station. Isiolo will have one of the largest railway stations in East Africa on the Lamu-Juba-Addis Ababa railway line in Isiolo. Isiolo Railway will also be connected to Nairobi via Nanyuki line for transportation to Nairobi. This project will create thousands of jobs for the locals. Manufacturing industries, food processing industries are also coming up for food and fruit processing and packaging for export and local consumption. Yet another job creation for locals. Farms. Many farms to produce vegetables, fruits, and flowers will all come up in Isiolo for export purposes, still another job creator for locals. The begging question is how prepared are the people of Isiolo in order to benefit from the development boom? The answer is not at all. We are not prepared at all. We will need top-notch internationally qualified tourism professionals to direct the planning, implementation, and operation of the city. Do we have such professionals? The answer is limited, if we have any. We will need professionally trained and qualified hotel staff to take up jobs in such a high-class hotels. Do we have such professionals? The answer is bare minimum. My proposal is that the newly started Youth Innovation Center by the Kenya School of Government and Isiolo County be upgraded to a full professional college with a hotel training school to train our youth in preparation for the jobs coming with the Lappset project. My other proposal is that the Isiolo Chambers of Commerce, with support from Isiolo County, Vision 2030, Lappset project, and the Ministry of Tourism, organize awareness seminars for our local business people to enable them invest in the Lappset project. In phase 1, I highlighted the Isiolo development potential as it is now before the coming of Vision 2030 in the second phase. I did a brief introduction of Vision 2030 projects and its development plan for the country and the benefits coming with it for all the 47 counties, Isiolo included. In phase 3, I elaborated on the Lappset project, the magnitude and the development potentials it brings to Isiolo. If we bring together these potentials of Isiolo within these 3 phases, then Isiolo will be the county leading with development potentials in the whole country. What a blessing. Having visualized the magnitude and development potentials with us, as the people of Isiolo, including our leaders, and the goodwill from the central government to help us develop, the buck stops with us, more so our political leaders, to prepare Isiolo to host these development projects. As Isiolo community, we need to be united, void of tribalism, religion, race, or political affiliation, and collectively work towards initiation and implementation of these projects. Our incoming political leaders must as well do their part by ensuring that the necessary bills are passed and adopted to facilitate the initiation of these projects. It's a few days to election. I wish you all a peaceful election, vote wisely, and may the best candidate win. More development, tourism, and hotel topics will follow on this page. Therefore, watch this page. Be blessed. I wish you a nice time. Thank you.